Good afternoon. As chair of the St. Scholastica Board of Trustees, I welcome all of you attending this important event. Those gathered here in the Mitchell Auditorium and those who will be viewing a video of these proceedings on the newly initiated Sandbulte Center for Ethical Leadership website. And a very special welcome also to all of the guests from Minnesota Power and members of the press. We are here today to rededicate the Sandbulte Endowment for Ethical Leadership, established by Minnesota Power in 1995. This gift was and is a tremendous display of corporate leadership and social responsibility on the part of Minnesota Power. And it recognizes and reflects Sandy Sandbulte's personal vision and commitment to moral and ethical preparation of tomorrow's leaders. The mission of our college is to send forth students morally prepared for responsible living and meaningful work, who are committed to serve and to transform the world. Now, doesn't that support Sandy's vision for ethical leadership? Oops, excuse me. As a businesswoman, I experience daily the importance of a value-based foundation upon which to make sound and ethical business decisions. In every boardroom and every CEO leader in our complex global economy must focus on ethical leadership. I'm inspired by our shared vision and the work of the Sandbulte Center. It is my pleasure to bring our college president, Larry Goodwin, to the podium to share his thoughts on the partnership that we celebrate today.
Thank you, Mary, and let me add my welcome to all of you. And again, our thanks to Minnesota Power. Minnesota Power and the College of St. Scholastica have a partnership that spans more than 3 decades. Several officials of Minnesota Power, in addition to Sandy, have served on the college's board, including Don Schipper, David Gartsky, Jim Houlihan, Jack McDonald, and Bruce Stender, past president of the college. Bruce couldn't join us today, but sends his best wishes. Minnesota Power has also invested in the college through many generous grants over the decades, including especially the Sandbulte Endowment. Sandy has been personally involved with the college for more than 1/3 of our 100-year history. I'm just saying, Sandy. Sandy served on our board of trustees. He served the maximum limit at the time, which was 4 3-year terms. He also served as vice chair of the board and for 4 years as chair of the board. Sandy chaired the Scholastica Promise Capital campaign that actually built this building, 1988 to 1994. He has served as a member and past chair on our investment committee and continues in that role today. Sandy was named trustee emeritus in 1992 and given an honorary degree by the college in May of 1995. So Sandy, you've been a big part of our life. As Mary already intimated, and as all of us realize, the Sandbulte Endowment for Ethical Leadership fits with our college's mission and values like a hand in a glove. The sisters brought to Duluth the idea of the education of the whole person, the conscience as well as the intellect, and that's why our mission statement talks about providing intellectual and moral preparation for responsible living and meaningful work. So we see it as part of higher education that a person graduates not only mentally, intellectually sharp, but also with a sense of true north and with some kind of a moral compass for navigation. And it's this moral compass especially that the Sandbulte Endowment is meant to help us achieve, particularly in our business school. So this is a great fit. It's a wonderful investment named in honor of a man who realized the ideals that the chair stands for. Now I'd like to invite Al Hodnick, who is the Chairman, President, and CEO of Minnesota Power, to share a few thoughts as well.
Thanks, Larry. Good afternoon, everyone, and we're very pleased to be a part of this today. The Minnesota Power Foundation, which didn't formally exist at the time that this board gift was made to St. Scholastica, has wanted to refresh or renew this chair for some time, and so it was encouraged to hear Sandy and Larry be talking here a year and a half or two ago about the time and the need to remission the chair. So I have a few thoughts about that today, and am again glad to be here. Of all the words that a company could be associated with, I think ethical tops my list. Sandy Sandbulte was a beacon of integrity and ethical behavior throughout his 40 years at Minnesota Power and beyond that as well. He lived and articulated ethics in all he did and all he oversaw, and believe me, it rubbed off on all of us back in the day. To put it simply, integrity is a matter of living the golden rule every day, but in today's business world, we have all seen how complicated living by that simple rule can be. Said another way, in often blurring or outright forgetting the definition of the golden rule, how we have complicated business matters and, frankly, how business has eroded trust over time, particularly over the last 3 years. Being ethical does not mean you are timid. It's not a situation of being afraid to rock the boat either. Sandy made many difficult business decisions and several unconventional choices during his tenure at leadership at the top of the company. People who have played golf against Sandy or faced him on the softball diamond will tell you he's as competitive as they come. He always understood the rules backwards and forwards and then competed hard within those rules. Sandy played to win, and he still plays to win. Always ethical, of course, but never one to shrink away from a challenge. This is a quality that helped him, I think, resolve difficult contract and relationship issues in the 1980s that resulted from a collapse in the mining industry back then and a long, protracted recession. It's the same quality that compelled him to help the city of Duluth tackle enormously difficult problems, most notably healthcare legacy liability issues, long after he retired. It is a quality that has made our company so enduring and has made it able to weather all sorts of challenges, again, including the ones most recently faced during this last big recession. I'm delighted to be speaking to this gathering of mixed leadership here, both young, emerging leaders coming into the work world and those that have been around for some time already. And I'm proud that a longtime leader of our company and a role model for me, and I know a role model for David McMillan, who's here today, is held in such high embodiment of ethical behavior here at the college. You may perhaps be hearing for the first time about Sandy or who Sandy actually is, but I know you've heard of Enron. I know you've heard of Bernie Madoff and his Ponzi scheme. I know you've heard of Penn State and the scandal that occurred there, steroids in professional sports, and even the Italian cruise ship captain who left his watch when he was needed the most. You have lived through these serious ethical lapses, stunning public company board malfeasance, and breathtaking greed that nearly ruined our country's economy in 2008, 9, and 10. And I'm sure from a student's perspective, your classes have been, I say, sad to say, clouded with one example or another of ethical weakness, miscalculation, and other sorts of maladies that led to one disaster after another. It has been said that it might take 100 years to grow a stately tree or to build a company's reputation, but only a moment to burn it down. Clearly, Trust in business or in Wall Street types or CEOs like myself has been broken, and it must be rebuilt. But rest assured, there are good and ethical organizations and companies out there, despite all that has occurred, and all of them sustain that platform with high-quality ethical leadership at the top and with organizations filled with individuals such as you. Educated, bright young people in particular entering the work life today with idealism and hope. And how you will be treated in the business world is the question. Will you treat your colleagues and business partners fairly, as you would have them treat you, aka the golden rule? Ethics starts at the top, true enough, but the true character of a company is measured by the actions of each and every one of us, each and every one of its members. It begins with me, of course, it begins with you, and it happens every day. If ethics is the science of morals, trust me, you'll be tested often, but you can and you must pass those tests. Baseball slugger Mark McGwire lost his chance to join the Hall of Fame, true enough, but more than that, he lost his reputation, one he will likely never get back. And in some ways, a reputation is all one has, so develop, nurture, and grow yours into a stately tall tree. Ethics, fairness, and honesty radiated outward from Sandy to the employees of Minnesota Power, to our customers, to vendors, and to business partners. And as a company, thanks in large part to Sandy, we recommit ourselves to ethics and fairness every time we orientate a new auditor, a new engineer, or a new attorney right out of college. Today, Elite and Minnesota Power face major organizational change as we are experiencing considerable workforce transition, where many new faces are replacing retiring colleagues. No surprise, it's essential, and we are most committed to imparting or handing off our core values, values deeply ingrained in our genetic code by people like Mr. Sandbulte, to the next generation of leaders coming into the company. And it gives us great satisfaction, and it gives me great satisfaction in knowing that the Sandbulte Chair is a gift that keeps on giving, and that ethics in this institution will always coexist with education. Beyond Scholastica and beyond national and international business communities, the rededication of the Sandbulte Ethics Chair serves as a most poignant means for all of us working at Elite today, as well as for the next generation of newly arriving talent coming in, to commit to ethical business behavior and reaffirm that there is never a wrong time to do the right thing. Simply stated, you cannot truly develop your intellect or a great organization without first demonstrating your ethical code of conduct every day. Sandy and Verna, our deepest thanks to you for your service to the company, your service to the community, your service to this institution, and frankly for your deep commitment to ethical leadership. Thank you very much.
And now we're going to see the DVD. So Sharon, roll the film.
Ethics. It's been called the science of morals, the topic of great study, debate, and writings. Webster defines ethics as the discipline dealing with what is good and bad, and with moral duty and obligation.
It's basically the golden rule. It's doing what's right. It's doing the right thing. Use your common sense. Do unto others you would have them do unto you. I mean, those are the kind of things that I think it's not rocket science. It's just how you treat human beings.
As easy as it sounds, it can be much harder to demonstrate, especially in business. Headline-grabbing scandals, now known by single names, Enron, WorldCom, Madoff, could have been prevented by that single word, ethics.
I know when a lot of us were children, there was always the moral of the story is, and we don't get that anymore. It seems as no morals are the status quo.
At the College of St. Scholastica, all students within the School of Business and Technology study ethics, not in a particular class, but in all classes. It's a theme woven through courses ranging from accounting to marketing to management.
To try to get our students to rediscover their own personal values and then decide who they want to be before they become a CEO, before they start making the money and the temptation is there to make other decisions that might not be so good. And also to set their moral compasses for a direction in life.
These invaluable life lessons are possible thanks to funding from the Aaron J. Sandbulte Endowment for Business Ethics, a gift to the college from Minnesota Power Elite. The endowment was created in 1995 by Minnesota Power as a way to honor its chairman and CEO upon his retirement. A man known for his unfailing integrity and ethics. A man known by friends and colleagues as Sandy.
Sandy lived it. He didn't have to be educated on it. He lived it as a way of life.
The two words that come to my mind that are Sandy Sandbulte are character and integrity.
How fitting for someone as highly ethical as Sandy Sandbulte to have a chair in business and ethics, which he resonates from his very being, from the time he was a child growing up on the farm to today when he's still active in the community.
Born and raised in Iowa, Aaron Sandbulte, Sandy, wasn't a typical college student. After high school, he worked for his dad for a while, served in the Army, got married and started a family, and then started college. He graduated in just 3 years with a degree in electrical engineering.
It wasn't a traditional homecoming weekend type of education, living in a dorm or fraternity. No, we lived in student housing, had little children, worked part-time, and that's the background I came from.
He was hired at Northern States Power and continued juggling work and school, earning next his MBA. Sandy joined Minnesota Power in 1964 to head the rate department and soon was promoted to Vice President of Finance.
Didn't set my sights necessarily on being chairman CEO, but the next run on the ladder, and as long as you do a good job, I guess those things do come along. I was at the right place at the right time, I think.
Sandy's mark on Minnesota Power is wide-reaching. Certainly, he's remembered for his ethics. A code of conduct manual he started is still in use today.
And it's developed into quite a handbook that we use that I think is a standard for each and every employee, all 1,500 employees, from the board to each of the senior executives to middle management to every employee. And it causes us to think. In fact, I could teach an ethics course from this book.
But he's also remembered for his leadership through challenging economic times and his vision for the company's success.
From the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, Minnesota Power Elite evolved into a diversified utility and one of the most successful in the United States. And a lot of that, Sandy drove the success.
The hallmark, though, is the high-performing culture that he left behind that delivers excellence today. Talent development, talent excellence, ethics, right results the right way were important things inside our company culture. And Sandy knew that. He wanted to make sure that he created a legacy around that, not for himself, but for the company long term.
I don't think I brought the company up to a more ethical level than it was before. I think I highlighted taking more responsibility, and that included ethical issues as well as business issues and financial issues.
Sandy's connection to St. Scholastica began in 1979 when he joined the Board of Trustees. He chaired the board for 4 years and has continued on the investment committee, a connection that led to the creation of the Sandbulte Endowment for Ethics.
You had a man who insisted with his company and his employees that we don't compromise ethics in our business dealings. He modeled it, and he found an academic partner in the Benedictine College.
What started as an endowed chair teaching ethics courses has evolved and expanded to include many professors, reaching many more students.
When you use the funding to educate the educators about the integration of ethics, I think the impact is a lot more broad and a lot more profound.
It needs to be a part of every profession. It can't be just related to the ethics department teaching ethics.
More students than ever before are learning about the importance of ethics in more classes. Traditional undergraduate students on the Duluth campus, as well as those taking classes online and at the college's extended campus sites across the state.
There's some tough decisions that our students and our graduates will have to make.
The college has also brought in speakers to share real-life examples of how their ethics have been tested.
Through management ethics and the different speakers, we've learned a lot about how, to make a decision, like what steps to take and make sure, weigh the pros and cons and make sure it's an ethical decision.
One of those speakers, Sandy Sandbulte.
I think with ethics, the absence of ethics is the thing we see a lot of times, and not so much when there are good ethics, we think, well, that's not really newsworthy. Well, I like to interface with young people. I mean, they are the future of the country and certainly of this area, and I think that I don't want them to lose sight of ethical issues.
A student becoming a manager today will, each and every day that they practice their management skills, have an opportunity to make a decision that's ethically online with their beliefs and their values. Every day.
I think it'll make me a better leader in the end.
And that has been the goal all along. Long before unethical behaviors at companies like Enron and WorldCom focused the world's attention on the need for ethics, Sandy Sandbulte and the Minnesota Power Board understood what the Elite Board continues to recognize today, the importance of educating students, now and in the future, about the importance of doing the right thing.
That funding is such a blessing for us. We can keep the focus on business ethics and not feel constrained by not having the funding to do it. And in today's world, that's really great. So I want to thank Minnesota Power and Sandy Sandbulte for doing that.
Schools today are all struggling for resources. This is a gift that keeps giving financially, and it also, I think, is a gift in the sense of who was this man, Sandbulte, who was this principal leader that led in this region here for so many years? How did he do it? How did he achieve the results that he achieved? And I think the conclusion that would be drawn is he achieved the right results the right way, and so can I.
Well, I hope that people that leave Scholastica with a baccalaureate degree have a good recognition of what ethical behavior is about, and that they go out and practice it in the world around them, whether it's in their business life, their social life, or their family life. I think that's what I'd like to see. No trick photography here at all. And now I'm going for the 8-ball, which is the ultimate shot here.
Right here?
Very carefully.
Oh, that was good.
Yes.
Thank you, Minnesota Power and Elite, for making this video. I'm a little stressed because I've got to fit all the things we've been doing in 17 years in about 2 minutes, but I'll do my best. I'm going to start with a May 6th, 2010 article in the Wall Street Journal. It says, "Schools try a makeover. After the Enron and WorldCom scandals, many schools added ethics coursework to their curriculum. But as the Enron fervor died down, so did these efforts. None of the programs is still running today, and most ended by late 2003. Ethics and citizenship are incredibly important," says Noel Tichy, a professor at the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business. "But business schools can be a tough culture to change." I want to talk a little bit about a student experience that we had on campus last week. We were able to have 4 prisoners from federal prison come to campus, escorted, to talk with our graduating seniors. 4 prisoners, white-collar criminals. 2 attended college, well-known schools of business. We'd all recognize these schools. I spent some time yesterday looking at what these management students study. One school, no mentioning of ethics. No required courses. I couldn't even find an elective. The other school, no required ethics course, no mentioning of ethics, but they had an elective called ethics. But it was very theoretical, and I don't think it would make an impact to the students that we have here. So it is quite a blessing to be able to have this funding to keep our focus on ethics and ethical decision making. We've done some marvelous things over the last 17 years. We have a required course for many of our majors. That required course also fulfills gen ed requirements, so students across all our programs could take it. It supplies not only some theoretical grounding and a framework for decision making, but it also provides some real life examples. The other thing that we feel very proud about is we don't have one person in charge of ethics. We've moved to where all the faculty realize that it's a part of their job. In a way, it's like the old quality movement in the 70s, where we had a quality control guy or gal at the end of the line saying, sorry, rejected. That's old thinking. Now businesses have incorporated quality engineering throughout. Every industry, every discipline, that person, that professional is in charge of making the right decisions as far as quality of their performance. So now we've got accounting faculty that are working with future accountants, letting them know throughout the curriculum, throughout their studies, here are some ethical dilemmas that you will face. Not if you might face, but you'll face these. And it's going to be hard without this framework. The other thing that we feel very proud about is bringing in guest executives, alumni, prisoners to talk about real-life examples. When we bring in prisoners, they talk about that one ethical lapse that might not be illegal, but it made all of the subsequent decisions a little bit easier. But they can always trace back. The one prisoner that talked, he was a hedge fund manager. He made a mistake. He didn't want to admit it. So one click of the mouse, he transferred temporarily $22 million to another fund to just make things right. Well, it didn't make things right. He was caught. One click of the mouse changed his life forever. The other thing that we've done is formed a business ethics committee of business professionals, students, alumni, so that we can kind of keep tabs on what we're doing. Are we on track? Do we need to adjust certain things? We also have experimented with different ways of teaching ethics, simulations, things like that, to interest and keep the future students very engaged, especially those ones that are so used to games, and they learn by games. And the final thing that we've done is created opportunities for our faculty to go and present papers on ethics or learn about the latest and greatest in ethics. So these things aren't possible if it wasn't for all the available funding we have from the endowment. We'd still be teaching ethics even without the endowment. It's such a connection with our Benedictine values, but I don't think we'd be able to come nearly as good as what we're doing right now. So thank you. So I'd like to show what we're doing to make sure that we don't lose this whole connection to the Sandbulte story. So we've created a Center for Ethical Leadership. This is where the video will be housed for a long time, likely even after we're all gone and St. Scholastica is approaching their second centennial. So we talk about how we've integrated ethics. We talked about this endowment. Sharon, if you can go up to the top of the screen. And then over on the left frame, ethics education. Quick summary of our focus, how well it integrates with our mission of the school and the college. Here are some of the required courses we have at the graduate level and undergraduate level. Board of Advisors, right there. Pat Heffernan, a local business person. Beth Hodgson's, Karen Shooter, Kathy Modine, Rick Revore, all people that are here to help us make sure that we're making the right decisions on where to spend this money. And upcoming events. So anybody can see what we're going to be doing next. So there's presentations, there's people coming in to talk, and then past events. And this is like a library of all the things that we've been doing related to ethics. So our instructors can point back to some of the talks that we've had, and it will continue to grow, and we'll always be able to have this resource available. So that's the center, and I'm very happy now to introduce Sandy for a few words.
I seem to have misplaced my notes, Kurt, so I'll have to wing it. Just kidding. Well, this is all very humbling for both Verna and myself. One of the things that we're happy to say is that we have made significant plans in our state for supplementing the Center for Ethical Education with the full blessing of our children, 3 of whom are here, Greg and Ruth and Rachel, and their spouses, and our daughter Kristen couldn't be here today, and her husband Jeff in the Twin Cities. The thing that I think about often is just doing the right thing, some of the things that were mentioned in these talks, so I won't reiterate all those things. But the one thing that I would like to mention is the idea of outliving your life. This is a phrase I've taken from Max Lucado, who's a religious writer. And the idea is that you want to do things that will outlive your physical life. Now, we're going to outlive our physical lives whether we like it or not, because you're going to be in the memory of the first, second, and even third generation of those that follow. And we're all going to remember, and our younger people will remember Bernie Madoff and those people. They're going to outlive their lives too, but unfortunately in not a very desirable way. So we're happy, as I said, to say that we're going to add that to the endowment once our day comes. But, Larry, we're not buying green bananas yet. We're still buying the ripe ones. So, I mean, we're buying the green ones, not the ripe ones. And so, you know, don't count your money just yet, but it'll come along one of these days, I'm sure. So once again, I just want to say thank you very much for this recognition. My mother would have loved it if she could have been here, but unfortunately she's not with us anymore. So, but her reputation lives on, and she's outlived her life, and her life was a very ethical one. So once again, thank you very, very much, and I appreciate your attendance today, as well as keeping in mind the ethical importance of what Scholastica does, what Minnesota Power does, and what everybody does in their everyday lives. You know, like Al said, I think, or the video maybe, it doesn't make news to do the ethical thing usually, but when you don't, then it does. And a lifetime of ethical behavior can be lost by one errant move. So hopefully that will not happen to any of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandy. One of the joys of the rededication is that we get to do a new plaque. And I'd like to ask Al and Sandy, you want to get front and center here where you can see it? And I realize this may block for where I was sitting. I could not have seen the plaque. Maybe we hold it up.
Oh, wow.
Let's hold that up. Did you see that?
That looks like me. Thank you, thank you.
Perfect, thanks. That's great, Sandy, I like it. So please, we have food out in the foyer. Thank you for coming today, and I hope you can hang around a little longer and eat some things and talk with one another. And again, our thanks to Minnesota Power Elite and to our honoree today, Sandy Sandbulte. Thank you.